Hello everybody, we're back with this half litre Meteor, as I call it, the Meteor Minor. The gasket set has arrived, got that yesterday, and this morning I got the bike out and I thought, right, we'll get it onto the bench and start pulling it apart. But last night I'd been playing about with it last night and looking at different things and that, and I took the whole thing to bed with me in my head and couldn't get to sleep much last night while I was thinking about it all. And I thought there's several things I ought to check on this first before I pull it apart. And one of the things which I fixed last night was it was dripping oil out of here. Now, I'd already put another gasket in there and it stopped it. But when I came back last time I rode it, it was drip, 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 drip out there, and I thought that's not good, because if it's going past the filter and just dripping out, it's not going into the end of the crank. It needs sorting out. The previous owner had said that it needs a gasket, and he hadn't got one. I said, well, I've got plenty of those. But it wasn't the gasket, it was the fact that he stripped the nut. He'd put a nut on there, a stainless steel one, which is obviously made out of soft stainless steel, and it had stripped the threads in the nut. Well, I'd got a Constellation timing cover, and I pinched the nut off that temporarily. That's the right one. It's deeper nut, and I actually moved this stud. It's a stud that runs all the way through there. I moved it along a bit so it's got a good purchase on it. So that stopped that oil leak. But it had got oil leaks. It had another one it had two oil leaks up here from the where you inspect the rockers and adjust the valve clearances, leaking out the bottom of those, both sides, and they were loose. And so I tightened it, gave those a quarter of a turn and stopped the leak from there. And it was also leaking between the two cylinders. There was a puddle of it down in the bottom there, and I thought, oh dear, is it the crankcase joint? Because if it is, it's a complete engine strip to get in there and sort it out. And I don't really want to do that, but I would have done it if I had to, but I thought, well, let's have a look at everything else. So I got a spanner on those and gave those a quarter of a turn. They were quite loose, and it stopped that. So that's the oil leaks taken care of now. But anyway, I started to think, right, now this is a strange one, this one. When you pull the cap off, when it's running, if you look down in there, you can actually see the oil returning. There's a pipe there where the pump's pumping it back into the tank. And you can look in there while it's running, it's fine. You can actually see the oil squirting back. Now, my other Meteor Minor, you can't do that. If you take this cap off, you'll get a face full of oil. And I thought, why is this not doing it? So I thought, well, I'm going to have a look at the breather system. Now, you've got a variety of breather pipes. You've got this one, which is screwed to the side of the engine, and you've got this one, because there's a breather in the end of the crank. It's got a little disc in there, and it breathes into this, and then vents out of there, and that pipe is supposed to go onto the chain, but it's bypassed that. It's not on the chain. So anyway, I took this off this morning, and it's the late type one that has two little discs of steel. They call it pen steel, and they just flap about in there, so that when it breathes out they open, and when the pistons go up again they close, so it can't suck air back in. Now that vents to the gearbox pipe, the pipe that goes into the top of the gearbox. And I thought, well, I'll have this off then. So I took this off, and both the discs were missing. And I thought, oh dear. I only got good rummage around, and I've got an old set of crankcases, Constellation crankcases. Don't know what year they are, but I whipped this off, and that had got the 2 discs in. So I whipped the 2 discs out and put them in here, and made sure they were nice and free, because basically it was just sucking in and blowing out again. So that's why it was not pressurising the gearbox, because the discs weren't in there. They were like 2 little valves. Then I thought, well, I'll take this out and have a look at this pipe. That was blocked. It was not completely blocked, but it was, you had a drop to blow through it. Anyway, I cleared that, poked a few things up the pipe and from either end, and bits of wire and things, got that cleared, and put it all back together. And that's when I found out you can't take the cap off this now. It will throw oil everywhere, just like the other one does. So I thought, well, something's changed. So anyway, I got it out, and I thought, well, I'll go for a ride on it and see if the oil leaks are cleared. And I did about 16 miles with it this morning. Went to go and get a breakfast, and then came back, and no oil there, no oil down the cylinders, round the heads, anything, no oil at all. So I was quite pleased about that. It wants the valve clearances checked. That's the next thing I'm going to do. It's a little bit rattly, but they just want tightening up a bit. They're out of spec. But that has worked. Putting those 2 little discs in there has worked, and it doesn't use oil now. I did 16 miles. It was right on the full mark, and when I got back, I let it sit for a while, put it on the centre stand, let it sit for a while, pulled the dipstick out, hadn't used a drop. So, and not only that, it wasn't smoking. Now, if you idle it for 10 minutes, you might get just a little puff of smoke out the exhaust when you blip it, then it's cleared. Not enough to worry about, but you can see on here the staining of the oil where it's blown off where it's coming out of the valve clearance inspection ports. Yeah, so that's a result. I don't think it's worth pulling it apart yet. I don't need, if I don't want to pull it apart, if I don't have to. And everything is pointing in the right direction. I'm not having to at the moment, but I've got the gasket set ready. It's got a brand new monoblock carburetor on it, as you can see. I can't remember who it was now. It said, well, it won't have done it no good, there's no air filter. Well, there is an air filter in there. It's in this box, and that's the inlet pipe from the air filter to it. So it has got an air filter on it. I've played about with the carburetor settings, reset the pilot jet. It should be a little easier to start now, I don't know. Might not be. Let's have a little look. Let's just tickle the carb because it is cold. There we go. Should start now, he says. Famous last words. Fired. Fired again. Fired again. can just hear the valve clearances rattling away there. Let's see if it will start again. Oh, so there we go. So we're making headway with it. There's no leaks from here now. No leaks from here. No leaks from the two banjo bolts, and no leak from the crankcase. That's the main thing I was worried about. I mean, it was all over the distributor cap. It was all over the toolbox, air filter box. You can see it's all down here. It was leaking quite badly. But it doesn't use oil now. I notice it's leaking from the bottom of this. It's one gasket on it. It's just staying in there, down there. So it can all be done. But I'm quite pleased with the fact that I got the breather wasn't the one from the crankcase wasn't complete. It didn't have the valves in it, and the one from the primary chain case was blocked. So having sorted that out, it seems to have cured it. So I'm not going to pull it apart just yet. I'll see how we go with it. I've had a big interfere with the front brakes because this is a double-sided 6-inch brake. There's another brake on the other side, and one set of shoes was touching the drum way before the other side, so I adjusted those and got those set up, and now we've got a good brake now. Well, it's not a perfect brake, but it's a lot better than it was. And the rear brake is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you've only got to touch it and you can lock the back wheel, having no ABS on this bike or anything like that. Yeah, so that's just an update really of where I am with it. It's coming to it now. We are getting there. It's nice that I haven't got to pull the engine apart because it's really burning oil. I mean, it was, but it couldn't breathe properly. And the breathing on these twins is crucial, really. It's you know, if you've got dodgy breathing system, they're not going to work. They'll be pressurising all bits of the engine that should be in a vacuum, and you'll get oil leaks appearing all sorts of places. Hot oil will find its way through anything, won't it? So yeah, for the sake of 3 screws and a nut on that end to get that off and find the right discs was the result, and to clear this one as well. So that's nice and clear now. I might shorten the pipe now so it does actually blow onto the chain, because that's where they're supposed to go. I noticed that I'd lost the hooter, and I found a couple of wires just poking out of the front of the tank here, and I thought, well, they must be for indicators. Perhaps it had indicators, because there is some little brackets on the back here, look. So I think it might have had indicators on it at some point there, but there's no mounts on the front. Anyway, so I thought, I don't know what these 2 wires are, I'll just poke them up here, get them out of the way. Then I noticed that the horn hadn't got any wires on it. I thought, oh, they're the horn wires, aren't they? And they were trapped underneath the tank over the top of that, so I had to take the tank off to get it free of this, so I could get them down here, so they'd actually reach the horn. So we've got a horn now, another thing sorted out. Now, going back to this tank, the colours on it are reversed. This should be, they offered this colour on the 350 Clipper for 1961, 62, but it's not like this. I'll put a picture up of a clipper with this paint job. There it is. Now if you look at that, the black is along the bottom and the grey is over the top. It hasn't got a panel here like this and a red line around it. So, but the grey on the top is on the mudguards. Now, I think you could have either. And I'm not worried about being that original. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this tank up, rub it all down, or get it all down to bare metal again, and it'll be black right through those screws from the front, the black band right the way across there, and it curves down like that, and then the grey goes to the back. So I shall do that. Obviously I've got to take the badges off, which are a bit cracked, but there they are. You can buy replacements for those, because the script on the Royal Enfield badges for the Redditch ones is very different to the ones on the Indian ones. The R goes round to the O on those. They look the same, you wouldn't notice first glance, but if you know about them you would notice. I've got to peel these are only stuck on with glue, so I'll peel these off. But I noticed when I was looking at them, I mean, you can peel them up no trouble and pull the glue off, but you probably won't be able to see it, but they have got John Bull made in England written on the bottom, so they are original ones. So I should reuse these. The badges, like I say, it's got a big crack across there. I'm not bothered about, you know, they'll go again, it's part of its history. I'm not going to replace everything that's not right on it, you know. You spend all your time fixing things and never riding anything. So I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's got the wrong wheel rims in it anyway. It should be 17-inch instead of 18s, but you know, there we go. It is what it is. I like it better on 18-inch rims, to be quite honest with you. I've got to pull the headstock up. There's a bit of room in that. And what's adjusting. People say, oh, that don't make a lot of difference. That does make a lot of difference. If you've got a bike with a loose headstock, you'll notice it when you ride it. So, just little jobs to do to it. I don't mind doing them. And my brand new gasket set can sit on the shelf for when I do need it, for one or the other. Yeah, anyway, that's my update with it, and where we are with it, and what's happening with it, and what I've done to it. And it's just, you know, it goes with the territory of old bikes. They're only as good as the last bloke that put them together. You know, I think the bloke did a fair job of it, but it wants a little bit more fettling, you know. It's nothing major now, unless it does start burning oil again, then I'm going to have to really look into it. But it seems to have stopped it burning oil. It doesn't smoke anymore, and the oil level doesn't drop, and it's not leaking. So that's vastly improved it. And there we are. So I guess the next video will be, I probably won't do it today, but might be tomorrow. Will be a ride out on it. You can see how it goes and how it does what it does. I had a bloke on a BMW. I stopped just to have a look, see if I got any oil leaks, and the bloke in the BMW estate pulled up, and he said, lovely bike, mate, lovely bike. I said, I'll take that as a big compliment from a man in a BMW. And he just smiled and put his thumb up and drove off. But not that I've got anything against BMW drivers, of course. They never cut you up, would they? They never tailgate you. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Frank Roper Limited, Sheffield. Now that's who supplied it. Nice when they've got the dealer's badge on there, isn't it? Right, so that's the tank that's going to stay on it, definitely. And it'll have a new paint scheme like the one I showed you on the 350 Clipper. And I think it will look nice. That grey is too dark. It won't take long to do that. I'll soon do that. So there you go. Royal Enfield half-litre Meteor, as I call it. The half-litre Meteor, because it is 500cc, half a litre. It's just, I've said it to myself once and I just can't stop calling it that now. Anyway, I'll see you on the ride out. Bye bye.